Lights, camera, action. Join the stream team with Strick and Brant and be a part of the Stream Network. Our goal is really simple. We're here to help you succeed.
We live? Yeah. Strick City. Woo! Strick City. All over the world. City, man, we live. Yo, Strick City on the ride. Yo, look like surprise. Yo, taking your city like we live. Yo, man, we live. Yo, taking your city like surprise. Yo, on the ride. Yo, Strick City coming live. Yo.
Hey, you got me. It's your boy Strick, and we are live. Hey, I'm promising you a great show tonight, so I need you to tell everybody you know Strick is on. And yes, I am on. And if you do me a favor, you guys are already watching me right now, whether it's in replay or whatever, please hit the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. And every time I go live, guess what? You get a chance to hang out with your boy, DJ Strick. All right, it's real simple. Got tons of things going on this week, and as you can tell, I gotta tell you this if you don't know. I have like my favorite t-shirt on right now. I hope you can see it the right way. It is the Let Me Finish I Am Athlete t-shirt. And I promise you, if there's a podcast or a YouTube channel that I'm watching those guys. I really like what they're doing. Athletes in a room talking. I love it, right? You know what I'm saying? So big shouts out to I Am Athlete and everything that they're doing. I love supporting other content creators. So if you are a content creator, guess what? I want to know who you are. Say, Strick, how can I help me? I don't know. Just a little coaching, support. Go to your channel, subscribe to you, and watch what you're doing. And you know, everybody grows up together, right? You just never know what'll happen. I love meeting new people and supporting people along the way. That's just how Strick does it, all right? So I don't have a lot of things going on today, so I want to get right into my guest. I'm sure we'll talk it up because we've known each other, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years. It's been a very long time. I'm sure she'll know the math way better than I do. Man, I met her out of Atlanta, rapping in a group, and she's a rapper, spoken word artist. I want to put poet in there. Maybe she'll correct me on that, but she's also an author. She wrote her first book, and we get a chance to dive into that book and everything that she's doing along with podcasting now. So she's a real deal content creator as well. That's why I'm supporting her. So without further ado, I want to get her on the show. So right now, none other than Ty Scott King. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing great, Strick. I was making the numbers. I was counting.
How
like 18 years.
Is it 18? Okay, cool. I like rounding up, but 18 years sounds about right to me as well. It is a long time. When I met you, you was just a kid trying to rap.
Yeah, I was trying to rap.
Actually, you were just a kid trying to do spoken word. That's what it was.
Stop.
That's what it was. You know how much I enjoyed spoken word at the time.
So much. You're the biggest spoken word fan I've met in my whole life.
I know, right? I know, right? Like me and spoken word just go hand in hand. That is so funny. That being said, Ty, you've been rapping for a very long time. Is it right for me to say when you do spoken word that you are a poet as well?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't even really use the term spoken word. I use it because other people use it. But if I'm talking about myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm a poet and a rapper. I just like the word poetry. I just prefer it to spoken word. I don't know.
Spoken word. And I got my peoples on tonight. Blind Guy, his life, his wife, and their life Yeah, blind guy, his wife, their life. I'm reading it and I'm saying it out of my head at the same time. He's always on, hanging out with me. So definitely big shouts out to you. Yeah, I'm glad you can hang out with us tonight. That being said, I like poet too, but you know, spoken word has a huge community as well. Like, I mean, I know I've seen some viral moments where there's spoken word battles.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you know,
for
that would
sure.
be like the best thing in the world for me, right? To go to a spoken word battle. Like I would be in heaven, right?
It's the same thing. It's I know people I guess it's kind of like hip hop and rap.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of the same thing, just they're just kind of dissecting this one genre and breaking it down. But yeah, you would do good because okay, so what it is
Thank you. Help me
it's a
out.
poetry slam. It's a poetry slam. So
Okay.
you go and people like rate your poem. So you would do good at that. You should be a judge at a poetry slam because you can
Oh.
give people
Oh
a
yeah.
1 to a 10. So you'd kill it. You'd give
All day
out ones
long.
like
All
all
day
day.
long. All day long. All day long. Like that line you said, your mom was this, that, and whatever. Like, listen, I didn't really like that. You know, it didn't make sense to me.
And people expect judges to be harsh. So you should go. They have poetry slams all over the country.
Do
When
they?
things really open back up, you need to go and you need to volunteer yourself to be a judge.
How have you
And
been
everything
staying?
you hate about poetry, you can take it out on all the poets there.
Well, see, it's not that I don't like poetry. I think it has its place. Okay. I mean, it's not my favorite form of art. How do I say it that way? So spoken word is not personally my favorite form of art because I'm like, just speed it up a little bit, put a beat behind it, and just rap. You're like, what are we doing here?
It's a fine art. It is a fine art. Even Tupac was a poet. So
Right.
you just got to accept it.
And he pushed his poetry through his rap, sped it up, and put a beat behind it, and Thug Life was born.
Oh my gosh. What Amanda Gorman set the precedent. You can no longer say that you don't like poetry because
Would
that means
you,
that you don't like Amanda Gorman, which means that you didn't appreciate the presidential inauguration, which leads you down a rabbit hole you don't want to go down, Strick.
Ty,
Because
Ty,
people will call you un-American. So
Ty,
let's just say you love poetry and be done.
Ty, come on, be real with me, okay? Be real with me. That was a speech. I don't know what you're talking about. That was a speech. That was a well-written, rhymed speech.
It was lengthy. And that's why the poetry slam. See, you would also like this about poetry slams. There's
Okay.
a time limit. That's why most of my poems are 3 minutes or less.
Oh, I love that.
Grew up in the poetry slam world. 3 minutes. After you go over that, you start losing points. So you love it.
Let me say this. You are one of my favorite poets, okay? You are one of my favorite poets, all right? So even though and people got it wrong. When I say I didn't really like the art, that didn't mean I didn't like the artist. You know what I'm saying? It has that. I got in trouble one time on air, like saying I didn't like. I had like poets in the city rolling their eyes at me and stuff. Like nobody ever said anything to my face. The atmosphere wasn't right between us, and I loved them. I just speed it up and put a beat behind it, and we're good. But you know what I'm saying, has always done a great job with your poetry. I absolutely love what you do. Love your rap. I love how you put the two together. And I love you as an artist. You know, I just think that you're a great artist. And, you know, I think your longevity in it proves your greatness. All right?
I give all the glory to God.
There you go.
There's some days when I'm like, people still want to book me for stuff. They still want to hear my poetry. I'm still doing superhero after like 13 years.
Are you for real? That's
yes,
awesome.
I wrote that superhero poem back in the day, in the very beginning when I was learning how to rap. And I really was learning how to rap.
Were you?
I started out strictly doing poetry, got into the group, and decided, you know what? I feel like I could rap. I feel like I can do it. And the guys in the group supported me at the time. There were 3 of us in the beginning, and then there were 2. So I was like, hey, I want to step into this rap space. And my partner in crime in the group was like, cool, I'll show you the ropes. So I really was learning. But I caught on fast.
Let me tell you something. And be honest with you. We did a show in Birmingham, and we were probably the first time you guys had Jamal come to Birmingham with y'all. And it was the three of you guys perform in this little club called Zamir's in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. You know, most of the people, I mean, we had some other groups, you know, that had girls, and they were really good. Like, taking nothing away from any of the people that we had, but the combination y'all had, nobody had a singer in their group. So when you got, I always thought that you softens Rick's flow, like with your flow, like it was a good combination. And then when you threw the singing on top of it, it's over. It's over.
It was crazy, but the crazier part is that we weren't the only ones doing that. We just didn't know that there weren't a lot, but there were probably like two or three other groups, like in Florida and just different parts of the country. So as we started traveling more, meeting more people, word got out more about us. We're like, oh, we're unique, but we're not the only ones. So, but, you know, Jamal has a golden voice, or Aaron J.
Oh my God. Is that what he's called? That's what he's called now, Aaron J? Is he still singing?
Yeah, he is. He actually, I think about 2 months ago, just became the worship leader at his church at a church now.
No.
Yeah, so he's been leading worship, but I think now he's like the worship leader.
Oh man, that's really cool. That's really cool. When we get off, you gotta connect me with him. I would love to catch up with him and see what he's got going on. That would be really cool. Yes. So the last time we talked is almost a year ago. You were on my show.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's been a year. Like, through the pandemic, as you can tell, it's changed a little bit. I did some upgrading to the set and to my show and everything. What do you think? Am I progressing a little bit here?
Yeah, it looks really good. I was admiring it. I was like, maybe I should have got in my booth and put my light on. But, you know, I wanted to let you get all the shots.
I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Looks really good, Strick.
Well, you know, we've been working on this thing for a while. I've been in the pandemic, so I've been down here a lot. So I had a whole bunch of time to kind of figure all this out. But how have you been handling your time in the pandemic?
Ooh, it was really, really busy. Like, when people were like, I'm so bored, I don't really have anything to do, it was the exact opposite for me. I'm grateful. I got all kinds of virtual bookings. So immediately people went like, okay, we got to deep dive into this virtual world. So I was getting calls from a lot of the churches that I've been to before, and then a ton of new churches, a lot of corporations, especially after the inauguration, where people saw, oh, there's a poet, a spoken word artist on this international platform. So, hey, let's get a poet in here.
Wow.
So I got to do a lot of really cool corporate events that I don't think I would have gotten to do had it, one, not been for the pandemic, two, had it not been for Amanda Gorman taking the stage at the inauguration. So it was like really busy. It actually has just kind of slowed down a little bit in the past month or two. And I think it's because people are trying to figure out, okay, how do we open back up?
Right.
So
right.
I'm grateful for the kind of woo-saw time that I have, but in another couple weeks, I'll be ready to start running again.
So I know you're out in California. Like, with this new variant, have the numbers increased so that they've slowed down again?
Yeah. Well, actually, about 2 weeks ago, I was supposed to minister in Vegas, and so we had it all lined up, and the coordinator of the event actually ended up postponing it.
Gotcha.
Because of the variant. So It's been kind of up and down. They open a little bit, then they close. So we've been a little back and forth on it. But I think California actually has the lowest numbers of new cases in the country.
Well, don't come to Alabama right now.
Streets, so,
don't come to Alabama right now, because we can't get it together at all. We just can't. But this time is different, unprecedented times in our lives where, we have to find a way to make the best of these times and also be safe and be covered and do all at the same time, because we can't just stop living because
Right.
of this virus. We got to figure out how we live, but how we do that safely. So I pray
Yeah.
for you and your family, you and Mike, that y'all, make good decisions and that y'all are covered and go into places that are the right places to go. And at the same time, Kim and I are still traveling too. So we've been on airplanes, double masked up, trying to
Right.
protect ourselves, but also getting out there and being in front of people. So
Yeah.
it's strange, but you got to do it, and I'm just very prayerful as we get out. Okay, God, we're moving out here, cover us, and
Right.
God has been faithful.
The first live event I did during the pandemic last year, like I'm losing time, but I'm pretty sure it was last year, was in San Diego. And it was weird to have the people in the audience so far back.
Right,
Like, so I had to, even when I watched the footage, I was like, it looks like nobody's there. I'm like,
right,
get over yourself, Ty. They're there. You heard them. Like,
right,
it's fine. This is a pandemic. Just be happy that you get to continue to do this and just, say hi to them from the distance. But it
right,
was still a lot of fun. But yeah, definitely to just use that wisdom and be cautious and, just stay prayed up and wear your mask, maybe even get vaccinated, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But
right, right.
for me in my house, or for my husband in our house, we made sure we got vaccinated.
Hey, let me ask you this question. I was actually, first of all, definitely big shouts out to my guy, Licio Way, hanging out with us tonight. We are live, sir. Thank you for stepping in or stopping by to say hello. I was with LP today. You remember LP, right? The
Yeah,
rapper
yeah.
LP. And he was talking, explaining to somebody that had recently moved to Birmingham about the stuff that we were doing back in the day. And this person was like blown away that we were actually traveling to these churches and doing these concerts and doing all this stuff for kids. He was explaining some of the stuff. And, a lot of this is not going on right now, not because of the pandemic, but, some of that movement has just slowed up so much as far as youth ministry in the churches. Did you have those points, like even explaining it to your husband? Like, these are some of the things that we really used to do. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. He was not in this holy hip hop world, Christian rap, whatever people call it. He wasn't
Right,
in this world at all. Like he was in the church, but just the hip hop side of it he hadn't seen. So like the Holy Hip Hop Awards every year where like thousands of people come from all over the world, the church events, just all of it. It was like
right,
so new to him. So yeah, there's still times when I'm like, man, this is great, but you can't even like I can't
right,
even explain to you how it used to be
right,
for real.
right, right,
But
right,
yeah,
right.
it blows people's minds still. But it's that's kind of how I felt when I moved from California. So I bounced around a bit. I moved from Florida to California and then moved to Atlanta.
Right,
And I came to Atlanta as a Christian who had been kind of starting to do some things on the Christian side here in California when I left the first time. So when I got to Atlanta and saw how big the Christian hip hop world was, I was blown away. Like I've never seen anything like the Fellowship of Holy Hip Hop with
right.
thousands of people there. So I can understand how like my husband and people who've never seen it, how they feel for the first time. It's just like, man, it's like Wakanda.
Right, right. Like, are
It's
you
the
for real?
Wakanda of the Christian music industry.
It was wild. So definitely shouts out to Danny Wilson and Eddie Velez, because before I was doing it, those guys were doing it. Christopher Play Martin was involved with pushing the start in the beginning as well, and they helped give me energy. They gave me energy out of Birmingham. I
Yeah.
saw what they were doing, and I actually went to glean from them because when I met them, which was the second year of Holy Hip Hop, they, I knew that my show was going to start in March. So this was probably like December, January, and I went, hung out with them, and just trying to absorb as much as I could. And then my show actually started in March of 2000, and man, like I said, I really got a lot of energy from them.
Yeah, they definitely had a big role to play in the success of the group and just the opportunities that we had and directed our first music video till 6 in the morning. He got Natina from Black to be in it. Like he was just super instrumental, just a really good friend. And I think he was the one that probably connected us to you. So,
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely deserve their flowers, and I feel like people have given them to them while they're alive, because Holy Hip Hop, the fellowship, all the stuff going on in New York and the Bronx, just like everybody, Tommy from Flavor Fest, so many different
Urban D, Urban D.
Urban D, who have come together to just really lift up the genre and to make sure that, people saw it for what it was, which was a great opportunity to minister the gospel. And we needed each other.
Yeah, we really did.
Needed that camaraderie.
We really did. We really did. It was, how I want to explain it. I think that, number one, to be used of God the way we were, because there are those kids that we impacted, they're in their 30s with children right now.
Don't say it, Strick. We're so old.
I'm still 29, by the way, but
If you're 29, I'm 19.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. But it is unreal to see some of those people that, like all of the young people that follow me, the Strick City Street Team, A-Lo, and I mean, there's just tons of them, and they are doing their own thing as far as being out in front of people. Say that again.
Jonetta comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she was at every Strick City event I could ever remember being a part of.
Yeah.
And just to watch her grow up and just live her life sold out for the Lord and get married, and it's just
become
amazing.
a preacher. Become a preacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the fruit of it. When people would question, even still, unfortunately, when people question, like, well, why do you have to rap the gospel? Like, what's the point? It's not of God. You can have whatever debate you want to have, as long as it bears good fruit. Like, that's, at the end of the day, I don't feel like there can be an argument after that. When you see souls saved, if you still want to act resistant, you just want to.
So I grew up like this. I grew up watching Donnie Simpson during the week, and on Sunday mornings, Bobby Jones, and going to church.
See, I didn't even do the Bobby Jones. I just did all the other everything that was not Christian.
But my mom kept me in church, but she never, like in our household, she never said. Now there was some stuff we couldn't listen to on the radio, but for the most part, we can watch all the music videos. Like she wasn't there. Like when we got home from school, it's 3:00. BET had the music going, and we would watch that. And I was exposed to the rap. Like I can't tell you what Run DMC did to me. Like to see some dudes come out with the Adidas and the jeans and the T-shirts. Yeah. Like I still have, like, the T-shirt thing is still coming from what they started, because before them, Melly Mel, man, they had like costumes on. Like nobody's wearing costumes, man. We not wearing costumes.
Yeah.
So I like the jeans and the T-shirt. Like we ready to go. But I also knew that as time progressed, Ty, the lyrics and the music have got so racy. I was a fan of it. I mean, listen, I can't be anything but honest. I was a Luke fan. I promise you I like Miami music.
Oh, I grew up in Miami, so, it was all about Luke. And the Miami bass.
And the Miami bass. I mean, come on. If you like Miami bass, then you have to have the DJ Magic Mike bass tape. It's just bass music, no lyrics. All those things happen. But then you get to the point
Trick
you say,
Daddy lived in our neighborhood, so it was like,
are you for real?
Yes.
So and I'm taking anything away from it. Now, if we just talk about music and then you say, okay, I got saved and I know I like the music, I'm not really down with the lyrics. I don't want to feed my body and my flesh that. So how can I find something that can give me the music, and also have some lyrics that are really, really cool. So it was Crusaders for Christ was one of the very first groups I ever got. I went to a conference and they were there. Disciples for Christ, I got aware of them.
Gospel Gangsters.
Gospel,
That was
oh
my
man,
first
oh
introduction
man,
to
I met them in
Christian hip hop.
person. Listen, I met them in person, and I promise you, they were doing the gospel, but they were straight gangsters all at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The first time I went to their concert, some friends of mine were like, "Oh, let's go to church. The Gospel Gangsters are going to be there." And I didn't. I like dipped in and out of church when I was younger, but I wouldn't have said I was a Christian, so it
Right,
wasn't really a part of my lifestyle. Then I got saved as a 20-something-year-old, and my friends were like, "Let's go to church and hear the Gospel Gangsters." I'm like, "Okay."
right.
So we couldn't even get in straight. The line was around the
That's
building.
crazy.
We never even made it inside.
That's
Like
crazy.
it was just amazing. Like to see all these young people who looked like me and who could dress like me and talk like me, and they're wanting to go to church on a Friday night. And yes,
Right.
the gospel gangsters were gangsters.
They
Like
were
I
real
met them,
gangsters.
but they love the Lord. Like, man, they were seriously. I mean, they're still one alive, so I don't want to say like they like or two are still alive, so I don't
Two
want
of
to
them,
say they
right.
like are gone. But yeah, they definitely had hearts for God and just really good guys. But they set a precedent. Like we ain't playing about this thing. Like
Right.
we really could be out on the street banging right now, but we're gonna do this for the Lord.
Right. Right. And I love their music. They were one of my, I really like, because they got with Kirk Franklin and then they increased their production in the last
Yeah.
couple of albums that they had. I mean, you could play it anywhere. I mean, I could probably go back to one of the last albums that they had and play a song right now and it would still be relevant today. Now, the style that they had was really, really West Coast, which was really
Yeah.
big. You know, that was one of the things that I felt like in gospel music, we kind of caught waves of what was trendy and kind of rode those waves. But I will say right now, we're not as trendy. Like people are being a little bit more original. To
Yeah, but I
me,
feel like
to
isn't that
me,
kind of what music people do trends
they
all the
do all the
time.
time. They do it all the time. They do it all
So,
the
I
times.
think sometimes it's kind of unfair that we want. I do believe that there should be a standard and that there should be a distinct difference. But sometimes I think we're a little bit hard because it's like, okay, well, it's okay if we follow a trend. Like, should we want to sound exactly like these people? Or like, I think for me, my biggest pet peeve is when you ask a Christian rapper who their influences are and they don't name any Christians. That's
Right,
quite disturbing to me.
right, right,
But I don't know. Everybody has their influences. Your influences are your influences. But it's like there has to be someone, there should be someone current who's doing what you're doing that you consider, to be an influence. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels like a slap in the face to the genre.
And I agree with you 100%. I think that most people, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I got into actually promoting gospel hip hop music, there was a stigma of it being corny,
Oh yeah.
okay, and that it wasn't accepted because so many people wanted to do it, and because they were doing it in churches, if they wasn't good, they would still get this.
Right.
People want to clap for them even though they wasn't good. And young people would see them and be like, man, this is the corniest thing. So my role, Ty, like in the area that the area of influence I had to be the gatekeeper, which was the hardest job to have. I'm talking about the most hated person in gospel music is the gatekeeper. I had
Yeah.
people just didn't like me, and my job was to promote as much of the good gospel music as I could. And it was difficult sometimes because I care about you as a person, but I can't promote this music and put my stamp on it if it didn't come across a certain way, if it's not mixed for radio, if it's not what the kids are listening to and how they want it done. I mean, all those things, all those aspects, I feel like before me, people were allowing the gates to be open for everybody to come in, and it was the corny people that had the most had the most influence at the time. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I just had to, like, I got a group of people that I knew was gonna perform a certain way. They were gonna produce music a certain way. And that's what I kind of stuck with until new people
Right.
came on that they were at a particular level, and I would grab them on as well. But again,
Right.
it was very difficult in the beginning being a gatekeeper and telling people that have performed that, you know, this may not be your gift.
Right. Yeah, but you have to set that bar because that's how, I mean, in anything in life, that's how people grow.
Right.
Like a lot of people are upset with millennials because they get these participation trophies and it's all about, you know, we know you didn't win, but good job anyway. Like
Right.
they're so mad that they're getting patted on the back just for being alive, basically.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
you know, it definitely, you being a gatekeeper and being diligent about it, and other gatekeepers who were like, look, we have to set a standard, has changed, you know, helped Christian hip hop evolve to what it is now, you
Right.
know, to be something that people are saying, okay, well, it's not an acronym for crap anymore, because that's what I heard in the beginning. Christian
That's
rap
funny.
is crap. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
You know, so all of that being diligent and requiring people to step up help to make a difference. But that's how you make people better. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other grow. So the
So,
people who hated you, Strick, you know, they probably hated you for different reasons.
oh yeah, they could have hated me because I talked about spoken word and all that other kind of stuff. You know, you just never know. You just never know.
Exactly.
But we get to a year in the pandemic, or let me say maybe the end of 2019. I forget now, but even a rapper as big as Kanye West putting out Christian hip hop music. Like,
Yeah, for me, Kanye is a touchy subject. So I try not to talk about him.
tell me why? Why would that be touchy for you?
Because I want this to be real. And I'm just not sure if it is. And that makes me
Gotcha.
concerned for him. It makes me concerned for people who have fully bought into him. But God uses everything. So I believe that God is being glorified. I just hope that Kanye is sincere because his soul is on the line.
I agree.
So
So the one thing that I know about God, Ty, all right, the one thing I know about God is that God will use you. Okay? He will use you to do his will,
his work.
whether you benefit from it or not. So him using you means that Kanye is opening his mouth and opening his mind and creative ability to produce this music that is affecting people. Now, if his lifestyle or his realness and truth to what he's doing is not where it needs to be, if his motives are not right, guess who pays that price? He does. But that music is going to go out there and really affect people. And you say, well, if he's not real, you know, people can listen, there've been artists, gospel artists that have missed it.
I've been there, so I'm not judging him. I've definitely been like saying things and living contrary. So, and that's why I can say I'm concerned for him as a person.
So I think that, to be honest, Time, when I saw some of the videos coming out, that they finally released the videos, his choir singing in different parts of the country, where they recorded it and he would rap some and play some. I was in awe at what the move that he was allowing to take place in these city centers. I thought that it was looking back, man, it was a great way for people to be outside of the church and hear some of the church music, because he was just doing old church music, but doing it with a hip hop creative flair that I thought was awesome. But then I also saw some stuff out of New York that was filmed maybe 2 or 3 years or 4 years ahead of that. And the choir was doing hip hop tracks on a fashion show run. And I was like, man, that's it. Like, that's where he got it from. And I was like, whoa, but that's, Kanye does that. Like, he doesn't have to He didn't have to like originally think of it. He takes a good idea and then he has the power to get it to the masses. And we're like, man, this is so cool. And I was telling our church, man, we need to set a scene like inside of our church where, you know, we could do that. Because I just felt like it had so much power and it was so organic, the way it looked, the way you have it built. And I just think it was a great move.
He definitely has a genius mind. God has gifted him in that way. And like I said earlier, the fruit, is he bearing fruit? Is God using him to bear fruit? Absolutely. I just pray that, you know, I had a line in a poem where I said something like, you using me as I was falling away. So I just hope that he's not getting used, but he's falling away.
Gotcha.
Because that's a hard place to be in.
Gotcha. Ty, this guy went to do an album listening party in Atlanta at the Dome. Do you know about that? He just so he was.
Yeah. I saw some people posting about it.
Yeah, right. So he invited people to listen to the album. I mean, he may have did a little concert there or something like that, but he liked the atmosphere so much, he stayed at the Dome. They gave him a room at the Dome. Like, who does that, Ty? Who does that? Who decide I'm just gonna stay at the Mercedes Dome Stadium?
Yeah, I believe he's seeking, and God is speaking to him and through him. And it goes back to like Pastor Mason Beth. I don't know if he's a pastor or if he's not a pastor anymore, but I remember when he first he came out with his book. And everybody was super excited because they're like, oh, Mace got saved. Mason is saved now. And that's great. But I think what happens sometimes is we're so excited about these people's gifts that we lose sight of them and that they still need to grow and to be discipled. Like I remember one time our pastor said, he said, you know, I have a pastor and my pastor has a pastor and my pastor's pastor has a pastor. Like we can't forget that we all need it. We all need, you know, to continue to be built up in Christ. And so what scares me and saddens me sometimes is that we're so excited to have these people on our team that we forget that they're humans and they also need to be poured into.
I agree with you, and I do know that he had, even before the first album dropped, had people in his life and he was going to a church and actually had local spiritual leadership.
Yeah, he's very wise, and it seems like he knows what he needs. I just pray that people don't lose sight of the fact that he needs that.
That being said, were you guys on the show that I did with Mace? Were you guys on that show by any chance?
No. Mm-mm.
I actually did a show with Mace. I actually produced a show with Mace. I do know it was Mace and Canton Jones. So that's a whole nother subject one day because I'm a big Mace fan too. Like I was a big Mace fan, and when he got to be Pastor Mace, we had to break him down. And man, I should write a book, man. You know what I'm saying? The people I've met and things I've done, like it would be very, very funny. It would be very funny, like if you really knew like some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Some people that went to his church and really great people. Just he shared some interesting stuff. At first I thought maybe they're just taking it wrong, but then when I met multiple people that said the same thing, I was kind of like, they were very gifted in the creative arts, and he told them that they couldn't do Christian hip hop. Like you can't do this for the church. So it was just sad to hear that, because it's like, man, they have gifts though. Why are you dissuading them from using their gift? But you know, that was a long time ago, and I don't know where he is now or, you know, in his beliefs, but yeah.
So, that show, he wanted to be separate from the gospel hip hop artists. So instead of having the preaching last, he actually opened up and he got out of the way and we were able to do our concert. But you know what? At the same time, I have nothing but love for the dude. I want the best for him. Like, I know no matter what level you are on, how difficult life is. So I'm talking to everybody that's hearing a conversation between me and my friend Ty. Like, we both understand how difficult life can be. I don't care what you're doing, secular, gospel, whatever. Like, one thing that we do have is the fact that we have a true love for God, and our hearts are in the right direction with him. So as we go up and down, we got him with us. He protects us, he covers us. And if there is promotion, guess what? The promotion comes from God. If there is success, the success comes from God. If there's some things that don't go so right, guess what? God protects us. And even in the times that are not so good in people's eyes, guess what? We can still stand up and say, okay, it's God's will.
Amen. He works. So I'm always amazed that somehow he really does work all things together for good.
He
Like,
done.
it just constantly blows my mind. All the things that you think are going left, like, he just always knows, and he's always concerned about us, like deeply concerned about how this whole life ends up for us. Like, this morning I was having a very theological conversation with myself. Okay, who made God? Where did everything come from? And, just all these questions. But at the end of it, I thought, God loves us. Like, he created us because he wanted to make man, and he wanted somebody to be in his image and his likeness.
Right.
And what does he want for us? He wants us to have dominion. He wants us to be fruitful and multiply. He wants us to worship him.
That's right.
And he wants the best for us.
That's right.
Like, he created a whole garden so that we could have the best. And when we mess that up, he sent his only son to fix it. Like, it's mind blowing.
It is.
I love movies like Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 12 because they have like all these characters and everybody's lives are so intertwined, and God is doing that for billions of people.
Right.
Like, it's mind blowing.
It really is. It really is. And man, I appreciate you sharing that, because even with this, sometimes we could talk about the music and talk about things that's happening, but I believe that God orchestrates it all. I believe that God has orchestrated a past in our lives. Number one, we had a chance to meet, but we also had a chance to influence a lot of people together. And I also know that because we were able to do that in the past, God has a direction and a path that he wants us to go in now. Like, I feel like a lot of things that I'm doing now is just a foundation for the next step, whatever that is. And we're going to keep growing and going in him, like, and not stopping at all, like really not stopping. And whether that's on big stages or little stages, Ty, I would be honest with you, it don't even matter with me. To me, it doesn't matter like what stage he puts me on, because guess what? I'm going to give him all I got on whatever stage it is. And if one day he says, I want you to do this, guess what? I'll do that. Whatever it is, if it's big, little, small, because I felt like I've done it all. And there was some successes and there was some failures. And I'm just content to be a vessel now, be a tool of his, versus having this idea of let me be great and grand. That is a worldly mindset of, because there are more people in front of you that you get a chance to talk to, you're better than somebody else. That's not true. The influence that I want to have on people are the ones that are right in front of me, like the ones I can touch every day. My wife, my kids, at church, the church people that I can influence their lives every day, and not some grand idea. If I get so many people, I can be on the stage with all these people and maybe I get paid for it. Is money? Like, is that your motives, just to get some extra money? God's like, I can give you money. I want you to have some real influence for the kingdom, helping people. And if it's that one person path you crosses your path, sees a video, is encouraged by the gift, and be like, how do you do this? And I'm able to witness and, kind of give encouragement. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, it's powerful to be able to do that. And that's honorable, because a lot of people, like I just said, he wants us to have dominion. And it's true. We should have these things. And when we step into a territory where, everybody's like, when you step in the building,
all the heads go up.
Everybody's amazed by it because they see God in you. But to seek the platform, to seek the numbers, that's, that's not the purpose. We're here to influence people, like you said, and however God leads us to do that. For instance, I have a friend that I grew up with. She's the friend that I've known the longest in my life. I've known her since middle school or something. By the time we got after college in our 20s, she is the person who I say basically is responsible for me being a Christian. So my relationship with her led me to Christ. And then because of that, oh, my name is spelled Scoot. That's funny. Because of that.
Thanks for seeing that, because I typed it and didn't even go back to look at it. So there you go.
So because of my one friend Tanya, basically the only solid Christian that I knew, I became a Christian, and from there have been able to impact all these people's lives. Had she not taken the time to disciple me, to befriend me, to pour into me, there are people who I wouldn't have reached because I was just busy running the streets and do whatever I wanted to do. I knew of God, but it wasn't like, man, I should be in a relationship with the Lord. It was her lifestyle that caught my attention. So, as we talk about like these platforms, and like you said, we've done really big things, like I've been at the Potter's house and the Pentagon, but I've also been in a place where it was literally just a DJ because somebody changed the event date and didn't tell me. Right. So I show up and he's the DJ,
Right.
And I've been like, oh man, it's just you. But we rocked it because it's like, okay, well, we're here, might as well.
Right.
And that influenced him, and then he was so grateful that he told other people. So it's like you can't take anybody for granted.
That's
like
right.
The saying, the people you see going up are the same people you see when you're coming down. Like, just be kind. I had this conversation with a friend the other day. Just be kind to people. You just never know who is going to be able to open a door for you, who can keep a door from being closed in your face. And it's not all about what people can do for you, but just to remember, nobody is beneath you.
That's right.
Like I walked into rooms where I'm like, I got booked to be here just like you, famous person, but you don't speak to anybody in the room. Like, come on, we're all literally sitting, eating at the same table.
Right.
But for some crazy reason, you feel like you're better than me because your name was here on the billboard and mine was here. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Seriously.
I think you just have to go through it enough times to know that everybody is somebody. You know what I'm saying? But until you live through those ups and downs, sometimes people don't get it. Yeah. Sometimes people are being protective. But what I do know about a lot of people that are great in the arts, sometimes they're not the best social people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could be the greatest, the best artists in the world, but socially they could be a little off. Yeah, a little awkward. Yeah. That's a better word. I'm
an ambivert, and people don't ever believe it. So an ambivert is a person who is
That's a made up word. That's what that is.
No, an introvert who has extrovert tendencies.
Gotcha.
So I'm a real introvert. I don't really love being on the stage. It's exciting and fun, and I appreciate it. But if you give me a book, I'll be in that book for the next 20 hours,
Wow.
But my gift requires that I, try to be kind to people and smile and be pleasant. But I would say I'm more of an introvert. So I do agree that, sometimes we can be rather socially awkward.
So let me say this. For people that's watching this, I'm sorry. Like, this is what happens. Like, if me and Ty was on a phone call, we would probably have a conversation similar to this. We will talk a little bit of business about creating stuff and what are you doing? I found this program. I'm using this. I'm using that. Hey, try this and try that. We actually did that before the call today. And I told her, like, if we did that, that's going to spoil the energy. But we talked about the other side of what we know, which is we got tons of times being with each other in ministry and also entertaining people through that ministry. that being said, Ty is creating multiple ways right now. And one of the ways I want to talk about right now is the podcast you're doing with your husband. Can you kind of explain that podcast, what you're doing, and how people can listen to that?
Yeah, sure. So we started out as a vlog, and we did a whole year of just vlogging these episodes. Our show is called Love, Beats, and Marriage. So we do have an Instagram page now that's under that name. And we're transitioning it into a podcast so that it'll be audio as well. So basically, my husband and I are both in music. He's a producer and he raps as well. So that's where we get the beats from. We're married.
Got it.
And thankfully,
Are
we
you
still in
married
love.
for real? I didn't know you guys were married. Come on, what are you talking about? We're married. Of course, everybody knows that.
So that's how we got the name. My husband actually came up with it. He's like, "How about Love, Beats, and Marriage?" So yeah, we talk about stuff that basically goes on in our marriage. You know, we have episodes like, you know, is your spouse wrong or just different? Just scenarios that we've come across. Our worst year. We talked about our worst year, which interestingly enough was different for the both of us. So we've been married 8.5 years. His worst year, he felt like was the first year. My worst year, I felt was somewhere like around the 7th year. So just different things that we've come across in our marriage that we're like, okay, we can talk about this and, you know, hopefully help somebody and really allow couples to see that you can have fun, you can grow together, you can be different and have difference of opinion, but at the end of the day, you know, it comes back to that love and just making sure that you cherish the other person's perspective. You know, so we've had a good time of doing that. Like I shared with you before we went live, we've been working on like some back end stuff in the last month just to make sure like our social, because we were basically running it through our social media pages. We have a YouTube page now. We have an Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. So if you look up Love, Beats, and Marriage, you will find myself and my husband who goes by Sunny Night. So yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. He's also an artist as well. I remember one of the last shows that we did together. We did a youth event or a youth church. I forget what event it was, but Mike was with you. Sonny King was with you. And Sunday night was with you. And that was our first time meeting, but y'all wasn't like married. Y'all were just dating at the time. And I was like,
Yeah,
wow, that's what's up.
And he came with me and played the guitar.
He played the guitar.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, we were just dating then. So it's been cool to grow. He's produced on my second album, Kings and Queens. He produced the majority of the tracks, and then he's produced the music for several of my singles since then. So and he's also released a couple of his own singles. So it's been really cool. We had to work through, like, at first it was fun when we were just dating. We're like, oh, we're making music together. But once, I'm a very like serious artist and I like to make sure it's like perfect. So he's more like, it's good, nobody's gonna be able to tell. And I'm like, I can tell though.
Right.
So we worked through the kinks on that, and just learning how each other creates has been interesting.
That is interesting. My wife and I, we do a lot of creating together. Like, not on her music, we do other stuff. Like I do a radio show together, and it's the chemistry is just different when we're creating together. Yeah. Oh, let's have so much fun. It's not always fun. But we make it work. Like afterwards is really, really funny. Like, so there's a lot of pressure to doing it right. And basically, you know, the show that we build together is not like, I mean, it takes us a while to do it. Like, it takes some time to do it on a weekly basis. Yeah. And that time for me, like, I got other stuff to do. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. No, let's do it again. We're both from Alabama. So the show is national. No, ma'am, you can't say y'all. Like, we can't do that. You know, all that stuff. So I understand it could be fun, demanding, and at the same time, it's something that we connect with. You know, that show has been a connecting point that we get a chance to work together. And when it's heard, we know both that's collectively, that's an art that we present to people.
Yeah. And we're super excited that people love the show as much as they have. So we've, I think, taken a break for about a good three months now. and we're about to come back probably November, December. But we've been doing some moments in between, just little clips. If we're out somewhere and something funny happens, we're like, hey, guess what? We just had this conversation. So it has
Wow.
been it's been interesting to learn and grow through our different processes, but also fun. And we're glad that people like it and are getting stuff out of it.
That's good. That's good. So coming back in November, where can they actually find it?
Yes, if you go to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, it's Love, Beats, and Marriage. And it's all spelled out like that. If you can't find it for some strange reason, just come to my page, Ty Scott King. I am Ty Scott King on Instagram, and you will find it through there.
Cool, cool, cool. So that's the podcast. And now I saw this and I'm like, man, this is way cool. I know that you are a editor, like you edit
Yeah.
books and people could hire you to edit their book, but you finally
Correct.
released your own book. Tell me about this new book that you have out.
So I have to correct you, and I hate correcting you. 'Cause
What did I do?
No, I'm kidding. No. So it's my third book. It's my first
Is it?
children's book.
Okay, I got
It's
it.
my
I
first
got you.
children's book.
Well,
Yeah, so it's my third book. The first book was a poetry book. The second book was a fiction book for teen girls. And so this is my first children's book. So
I get it.
when
I get
we
it.
were, when I was living in Alabama, even before I met my husband, so somewhere around 2010, I was teaching, and then I worked at a museum. So I was around kids all the time. And I was like, I should write a children's book. And my friends were encouraging me because they're great people. And my mom would always call me Little Miss. That was her nickname for me. So I was like, oh, I'm going to create this character and call her Little Miss. And Little Miss was already taken. So I was like, okay, well, what else can I call her? So I decided to call her Lily Miss. And this book, How Lily Miss Saved the Lilliputian Tree, came out of my time with just surrounded by all these kids and just feeling like, hey, there should be a character, a female character, an African-American female who cares about the environment, she wants to save something. So in this first book, she saves the Lilliputian tree. And so the book came out at the end of July. It's crazy because time has flown by. It came out at the end of July. It's currently an ebook only, but I should have brought it out here so I could show it. I did just get the sample of the physical book. So I'm super excited, gonna make some adjustments there. So I'll have physical copies available soon for the holiday. But right now it's available through ebook on Amazon. And in the first couple of days, it actually became an Amazon bestseller. It was in
Wow.
5 categories on Amazon. Number 1 in like Christian, I wrote them down, like child Christian books, children's book on values, children's family life books.
Love it.
So super exciting. It was 5 categories, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. So I'm really grateful for everyone who has supported so far.
I love it. I got to say, I'm so proud of you for your continued ability to put content out for people, like for your heart to continue to do some things that pushes the envelope for you and for other people. Like if you have a dream or a goal, you just go do it. And that's so admirable that you would have that type of attitude. And I think it'd be encouraging to other young ladies and to people in general. Like if you have something that you want to do, you can do it. I've been talking about a book for so long, it does not make sense. And now that you told me that you have 3 books, my feelings is hurt. You know, I didn't know I got to go get those other 2 books.
Just write it.
You shouldn't have said that because I'll write it, and like anybody that can make sense out of my writing, you know, God bless them. You know what I'm saying? But I do have one coming. I'm working on something, so I'll be talking to you about it. But I'm proud of you and what you have going on, and the success that God has given you, and all that is happening on your end. What's next for you?
So the song that Aaron J and I released last year, No Greater Love, has done really well. We dropped the video to that and everything, and still promoting that, now promoting How Lily Miss Saved the Lilliputian Tree. And then what's next is I'm actually releasing a song that during the pandemic, I filmed a video for the song called One Way. and it's just it's the hook and one verse. So I was like, I'll just do the video and everybody will be happy. Well, people were like, wait a minute, how you gonna just drop a video and not release the song? I'm like, because I just wanted to drop a video. So people asked for the song, and so my husband actually just finished mixing and mastering it like a week or so ago, and so I'll be releasing the song One Way. If you want to check out the video, it is on my YouTube page, Ty Scott King, and the song will be coming before the end of the year. So that's what's next is the song, and then the physical copies of How Lilli Miss Saved the Lilliputian Tree. So to hold a book in your hand, like just to have poured stuff into it, and I want to shout out the illustrator PQ Brown, because he worked with me like very closely to create the book and to make sure that the characters were who I wanted them to be. So the physical book of How Lilli Miss Saved the Lilliputian Tree, and then the single of One Way, but you can watch the video in the meantime.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If people want to get in contact with you or see you on social media, how can they do that?
So my website is tyscottking.com. It's spelled like you see on the screen, T-Y Scott King.
The right way.
If you go to my website, say that again, Strick.
The right way. It's spelled the right way.
If you go to my website, it'll take you to all of my social media platforms, but I am mainly hanging out on Instagram, and my handle on there is I am Ty Scott King.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate you spending the time with me for us to catch up. You know what? To be honest with you, I like doing it this way with my friends, because not only can we have time to catch up, but we can actually make content at the same time. So it's kind of cool. People are like, well, what would you guys talk about? Like, just watch the show. Like, we would talk about that, you know what I'm saying? That's what we would talk about. Or, you know, we started down the line of talking about content creations and some of the things that we're doing there and all the little platforms and apps, and we'll throw that in there. You just never know if there's something new that people are doing. New apps. I got a new one called the Script. So you can actually throw you're familiar with that? Yeah, that one is pretty cool. I just used it for the first time the other day, and I really do like it. Now, it does have a problem with music videos, but for speaking and building transcripts off videos, it does a really, really good job. So I really like that. So
yeah, and you know, you can still use Instagram to do your transcript stuff. So anytime you want to throw little clips on Instagram, it'll transcribe it for you. And
this also transcribes it and actually puts it on a screen too, right? I saw somebody doing that. I gotta figure that out. I haven't did that yet. Is it the video, or can you do that live as well? Is this when you drop in a video?
No, I think it's just video in your stories. So if you want to take a clip, let's say from this episode, you put a little clip in your stories and you just press a button. It's a caption button, and it'll just transcribe it right there. And if something is off, like Scoot instead of Scott, you can just type it correctly.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. I saw that, but I have never worked in it or never knew how. And again, this is what we would do in a conversation, just kind of like giving small little tips to kind of get the other person going. And does mostly Ty telling me what to do. So I appreciate it.
No, but thank you. Thank you. I always like hanging out with you. It's fun to catch up. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but yeah.
Yes, it has been that long. It has been that long. And man, I just appreciate you. Hopefully we get a chance to do this again. Maybe I won't wait like a whole nother year to have you on. Maybe like 6 months we can come back and do something. Or if you're doing something, you say, hey, Strick, can you come on? You know, I'll make time for you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll connect you with Aaron J.
There you go. There you go. Hold what you got for just 1 second. You know, this has been an awesome night. You guys don't know what it's like hanging out with some of my friends, and being able to do that on this platform with you, to me, is just awesome. You know, I really do appreciate the minister, the artist, the poet, the author that Ty Scott is. Please go by all her social media channels, follow her, buy all of her music, definitely buy the latest book that she has and share it with some kid that you may know. I think that you will be impressed by that as well. I am DJ Strick. If you hadn't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notification. Next Thursday, 8 o'clock. Guess what? Central Standard Time, you got me all over again. God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out with your boy. Oh, you know what? I really like this.